Well, my darlings, it is time to get your little thinking caps on, or maybe even your little tinfoil hats, because we may have to go down that bunny trail. But before we do, I want to give you a few little facts. And the facts are this. First of all, the fact is that you're here, and I'm so grateful. If you'll please do me a favor and click the subscribe and the like button, that would be fantastic. Now, you see, look, the big book of Bull, well, I don't think we're going to enter into that today, because most of what I'm telling you isn't really about Bull, but I'm also going to show you that, look, I'm almost through it. So I want to thank you so much to everyone who sends me these, because, well, here we are. I think this is the last of the entries in this particular journal. Will I throw it away? No, it'll be in mothballs, because I may have to pull it out and refer to it. Now, I've made notes upon my notes over the last 2 days, and I'm going to give you what I know that is fact, and I'm going to give you a little something there that might raise your eyebrow or two. So today we're talking about retired U.S. Air Force, we'll just do it that way, and he is a major general. Yeah, he's majorly something. All right, a major general, and his name is William McCasland. Now, my darlings, here's the deal. He's 68 years old. Here's for you there. And I am going to get a highlighter out in a minute, because we are going to be talking about some things. He's the former commander. Yes, that's the acronym for commander. A commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory and MIT-trained engineer who was reported missing from his Albuquerque, New Mexico home, February 27th of 2026. Remember this date. Remember that date, my darlings. Now, the facts may bore you a little bit, but we're going to need to know these. So the fact is that he oversaw the Air Force Research Laboratories at Wright-Patt. That's what they call it, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So it's Wright-Patt Air Force Base. How do I know that? Well, that is in Dayton, Ohio. And I am from Ohio. And my dad, before he passed away, was in the United States Air Force. I've got kind of a funny story to tell you about that one day, but not now. It was one of my visits. In fact, my dad even has a display at Wright-Patt. I'm not going to tell you all about that because, well, there's no need to know, but just know. Here's the deal, my darling. He retired in 2013. A little bit ago. Okay? So these are the key facts. He was last seen on foot February 27th. He did not have a phone. He didn't have anything. But then later on it was said that he had a pew-pew. You know what I mean. And that's the only thing. Didn't have a phone, didn't take his wallet, didn't take anything. Now, I looked to see if people were looking into his bank accounts, or, because usually sometimes if you want to disappear, you start rearranging things maybe a month or two ahead, maybe even longer than that. You start moving things around and rearranging and making withdrawals and everything else. There was nothing suspicious or nothing out of line, let me say, about that. Now, here's the thing. The health reports indicated he was suffering from some type of this is what they said, mental fog. What does that mean? Well, I do not believe that they meant it was dementia. What I do believe that he was maybe having a little bit of, I'm going to say maybe he was thinking a lot. When did all this happen? Because quite frankly, there was no indication that he was upset beforehand. He was not out of line. He was just living normal day life. Now here we go. Here we go. Let's get your tinfoil on. He does have a UFO connection. And if you want to know the truth, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is one of the biggest UFO connections in the nation. So, some researchers, as in one fellow, Ross Coulthart, believed he held sensitive knowledge regarding UFOs. His wife even stated his work with the To the Stars company was limited, unpaid, and focused on technical realism for the media. So he was into tech realism for media. That's important too. Because quite frankly, my darlings, going back years and decades, some of the things that we have seen about some of these things are not true. And sometimes people, it's unfortunate, it's very sad that you start saying things like this and they just fall apart. It's like, oh my gosh. Well, do a little research, do a little thinking, do a little research. So now here, the investigation started because the authorities included the county sheriff's office where his home was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And they said that there's no evidence of linking any disappearance to the UFO research or national security issues. Now, wait a minute. You know what okay. Because here's where it gets foggy with me. Now, I've done a little bit more research and I went into the archives and I've never seen where he has never testified in front of any type of congressional hearing or any committee or anything regarding Washington, D.C. There's nothing based on any available reports. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. But I got more information for you, and this is the more information. Now, let's go on to the other side of the aisle, my darlings, because here we go. There's a woman by the name of Monica Reyes. Oh, I'm sorry, not Reyes, it's Arza. Who am I thinking? Her maiden name was Jacinto. Jacinto, Monica Arza. Monica was last seen hiking in the Los Angeles forest with a companion 9 months ago. Police say that Monica was about 30 feet behind the person she was with, smiling, waving, having a natural time, having a good time, having a good day. And when the person turned back around, she was gone. She vanished. Why is this important? Well, it is. Hold on. Now, we're not going to start pumping the brakes on this right now because I think that you really, really need to know about this because rescue teams researched for her. She was not recovered. There was no body. There was no anything. And to this date, nothing could verify whether or not she is considered to be a missing person or not. She is. But here's the thing. General McCasland was reported missing his home on the 26th. In the March release, the office said that they haven't recovered any information about any foul play or anything else at all. So we've got 2 people that are missing. Now, why does she come into play? Because in the early 2000s, they first connected when General McCasland, connected with her after her patented nickel-based super alloy. And the name of that super alloy was Mondalloy. Now, Mondalloy is something that you use in space for rocket science. And it is and at the time, McCasland was overseeing the Air Force Research Laboratory Space Vehicles Directorate. And that is what started this and funded the research into the advanced materials needed for reusable space vehicles and weapons. And in that role, as a commander of the Phillips Research Site, General McCasland used Monica's research. So that ties the two of them together. Now we have two people that are missing. I know you've seen this, the Mars. Really? You remember the Mars phase? The planet Mars? The Mars phase. It was all about the pyramid on Mars. On Mars. Now, this whole thing, Monica's work, I'm going to call her Monica, helped the Aerojet Rocketdyne achieve a major milestone in rocket engine technologies, and that was Monica. And the Aerojet Rocketdyne was sold in 2023 for $4.7 billion US to L3 Technologies. Now, this all makes a lot of sense because the Red, and that was in the Red Planet Authority on the Mars Pyramid chimed in 2016. So here we go. Get ready. I have to look at my notes. I can't remember all this because there's a lot. Give me a second. Let me turn the page. Let me turn the page. Because I got to tell you about, first of all, L3 Technologies, but I also want to tell you about this Mondalloy because that's important. Let me get this. Give me a second, my darlings. My gosh, I'm shuffling around here. All right. So first of all, I want to talk to you about this Mondalloy. That is a D. So this Mondalloy, we're gonna go here for a second. We're gonna pick up on L3 Tech in just a minute. So this Mondalloy, and for those of you who are Terminator fans, you know, I'll be back. That alloy, or that alloy, and this is a Mondalloy alloy, was a hyperalloy that was used in the Terminator. Okay, so anyway, Mondalloy is a nickel-based super alloy developed by Aerojet Rocketdyne, designed specifically for high-performance, burn-resistant rocket engines. Now, Monica, back here, we're just going to put it here. Monica was a big credentialed metallurgist. She was top notch, and she had a good person that she worked with by the name of Dallas Hardwick. Now, Dallas was absolutely a fantastic person and extremely credentialed, and literally moved to New Mexico to be near all of this research, to be near all of this. And Dallas was one of the first women to graduate from the University of North South Wales School of Metallurgy, and that is in Australia, with a PhD. Unfortunately, Dallas is no longer with us. She lost her life to the big C word, and it's very unfortunate that she did, because she was very intelligent and offered a lot to this technology. So she is no longer here. She is deceased and does not have anything to do with this. So back to this alloy. Basically, this means that its high temperature performance allows for cleaner and more efficient operation of modern rockets. That's important. Now let's talk about L3 Technologies. L3 Technologies is a major American defense contractor. So in June of 2019, they created a top-tier defense contract. The major clients that they had served U.S. Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security, intelligence agencies, and NASA, actually, and also international clients. That's important. Formerly known as L3 Communications Holding, it was founded in 1997. Now here's the thing, my darlings. L3 Technologies merged with another corporation, Harris Corporation, but Monica and General McCasland was also involved with L3 Technologies. They had a lot that they were working on. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes. Now you know the background of all these people. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. So first and foremost, and again, this is not a political channel, so please, okay? I'm just saying, on February 19th of 2026, President Donald J. Trump announced that he would direct federal agencies, including the Pentagon, to begin releasing government files related to UFOs and UAPs. Now, UFO, unidentified flying object. UAP is an unidentified aerial. Oh, I can't even think right now. Give me a second. Unidentified aerial phenomenon. I should have known that. Okay. Why is this different? Well, UFO you kind of look at, right? But then they want to get technical and say, well, if we don't really know what it is, it could be a weather balloon, right? We'll just call it a UAP. Right. Okay. So I want you to start thinking about this February 19th of 2026. He specifically called UAPs and UFO topic extremely interesting and important. And that's when the ball started going. Because they wanted to take action by March of 2026. Now, we're going to keep going here because this is really something, and it's going to bring up a timeline. Give me a second. I got to bring up my notes. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the Pentagon is working on identifying and releasing government files related to UFOs and extraterrestrial life following the president's directive. We've got our people working on it right now. That, my darlings, from Pete was not March, February 24th. I screwed that up. Let me do it again. Pete Hegseth. And he is the Defense Secretary for the United States, said February 24th that now he is working with the Pentagon trying to get all of this information released. So then, here's the timeline. Right after that, retired Major General William McCasland, February 27th, left his home with nothing and has not been found. 8 or 9 months earlier, it was Monica who left and was not found. And I'm just going to say, do I feel that they are connected? Yes. Yes, I do. Because there are many people who have testified in front of committees, in front of different places, who are no longer existing. They just seem to disappear. Why do I think that this is all connected with the announcement that the release of information coming out about UFOs and UAPs? And there's a connection with L3 Technologies that has international clients. Do I believe that a UFO swooped down and picked up Major General McCasland? No, I do not. What I believe is something more sinister. Because, you see, my darlings, one thing I do know, I was married to I was formerly married to a naval commander. I know how this stuff works. A little bit. When you're given information like this, you tell no one, and especially your wives. And Major General McCasland's wife kind of made light about it and said, oh, maybe a UFO got him. That was to distract. Because do I believe that from the moment that announcement on the 19th, that's 8 days later, he went missing. What did he know? I'm sure top secrets, even though he was retired. I'm sure he knew a lot more than probably any of us could even imagine. What about Monica? Well, Monica knew a lot of different things, and I believe that they knew coming up to this announcement that there were some important things going to be happening as far as in this arena with the UFOs, because it's been in the news forever. But since she is and was involved with all this new research, she has to know things. Now, I believe the disappearance of Major General William McCasland is different than Monica. Let's talk about it. Major General McCasland, I believe, has, in my opinion, possibly kinda left. He will not come back. There will be no body. There will be nothing. I believe that he was put in a position or pressured, or he knew something was either going to happen that was bad to him and or his family, and he decided just to retire himself. You take something with you for one of two reasons. You either want to protect yourself, or you want to give yourself a ticket to paradise. Whichever way it is, whatever way it turned out, even though I don't believe there was a UFO related, I do not believe a UFO swooped down and took him. I believe that there was something more. Will we ever find out? No. Just like these other scientists who have been missing, and now congressional, representatives are coming out and saying the same thing. Yeah, bothersome. Now I'm going to get my cards out in a minute. So I don't believe that. No. I believe it's something worse. But let's talk about Monica. She went on this hike near Los Angeles. They were having a good day. Nothing. She was an aerospace engineer, developed special metal used in rockets and projects funded by the U.S. government and overseen by McCasland. But there's other things that can happen, and I have experienced these things myself. And here's where the tinfoil hat comes out. If you haven't heard my story, I have two of them. One is in a cemetery. The other one was in a very densely wooded area. Usually these disappearances happen when you're out in a wooded area where you're hiking, where all of this. In my experience, I was standing right beside a young lady. For those of you who did not hear that incest story that I told on my channel, she was standing right beside me, and when I looked, she was gone. We looked all around the cemetery. We were concerned. Was there a ripple? Was there something that happened? Because in Tennessee, there's underground caves. Things can swallow you up like no tomorrow. That young lady was gone for a little while, to the point where we called the law enforcement, and they came back, and before they came back, she grabbed my arm. I thought I was going to jump out of my skin. And she said she could hear us, but she thought we left her. The other experience that I had was I was with a paranormal group, and there was one of those staircases in the wooded areas. Never, if you run up on one of those, never go up those stairways. Never, ever, never. Because sometimes when you get to the top, you don't come back down. And that's what happened with this one girl. And we saw it. There were more than one person there. We all saw it. She stepped up on the top rung of that stairway and just vanished. We heard her screaming. It sounded like she was screaming from the atmosphere. And she kept screaming for help. It was horrific and extremely unnerving. We finally were able to retrieve her, because some people do come back, but many do not. And when she did, we had law enforcement out there with us, and they told us that it happened more often than not. And no, I'm not going to tell you what wooded area this is in Tennessee, because I'm not going to put anybody in harm's way. But the law enforcement that was out there with us told us that happens more often than not. And it's frightening. And many times these people don't come back. Law enforcement, and the previous story that I just told you about the girl just disappearing right in front of me, or right beside me rather, law enforcement told us that there were some girls that had been there previously, and they went into the woods and just never came out. What causes this? I'm going to say there can be manipulation in the energy. How do I know this? Well, it goes back to our friend Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla. because he was being able to warp time, as in time travel. I know, Zelda. Come on now. I'm going to tell you what. I have more faith in the science behind time travel than I do many other things. But I'm also going to tell you there have been some agencies, and we will leave it at that, who have experimented on psychic science, on time travel, and the weather. And all of that, my darling, all those things can be and are manipulated. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it a portal, you can call it a ray, you can call it, I call it a curtain, because it's almost as though you step behind a curtain, and anyone who has ever been in that position before, when they come back, they just say it's desolate. If you want to really know what it's close to being, if you've ever seen Stranger Things when they're in the upside down, they actually say that it is sort of kind of like that. And look up Montauk, Montauk Island, where they used to do these experiments with the psychic kids. That's kind of where Stranger Things came from. But they say you can hear people, you can hear them talking, things look the same, but they're not quite. Do I believe that probably happened with Monica? Yes. Because a lot of things, and I'm just going to tell you something right now. You won't ever catch me hiking by myself in the Great Smoky Mountains, because there have been many who have disappeared. Now, obviously, there are reasons why. I mean, you can fall into crevices and cracks and caves and all this, but there are also curtains, and that's just a part of life. It's just a part of us right now, and it's a part of our world. Do I believe that maybe Monica stepped behind one of those curtains? Yes. And if you ever watch 411 Missing, there are so many people in these national forests. Do I believe that that has happened with many people that just disappear? Yes. Now, what happened with the young lady that came back, that went up that stairway that one time? When she came back, she didn't look like herself. She was frazzled. And when I checked on her, it was later on, it was bad. She went out of her mind. And then I think eventually passed away. Don't play with this stuff. It's dangerous. And especially for people that know too much, it's an easy fix. It's an easy fix. Timelines can be manipulated. Time can be manipulated. Areas, forests especially. Why? Because they are dense with energy. What causes that energy? Well, it's the woods itself. It's the trees that can cause the energy. I know, Zelda. No, I mean it. I've spent my life on researching, and believe me, I have looked for many, many missing people. And really, when law enforcement comes to you and they say this person went missing and they've been in this forest or whatever, usually how I get involved is either a family member will call me, or someone refers a law enforcement and they'll call me, and I will refer them to my law enforcement and lawyer before anything gets started. Got to vet people. But the whole idea, my darlings, is there are many times that law enforcement, and especially forest rangers, scratch their head. And Miss Monica, I feel that's what's happened. Because in both situations of General McCasland, they said that there is no foul play, but how would they know? There's no witnesses. There's no anything. He left everything behind. It sounds pretty much to me like he was going to probably try to take matters into his own hands because he knew what was coming the moment. Because why? Well, most likely when they release these files and they release these reports, people's names are on them. They'll redact them, but I mean, we've seen files lately, right, from the island people. Now they're not involved, but I'm using that as an example. Miss Monica, 30 feet behind, that's not very far. For many of you, you could really measure that for yourself going from your living area into your kitchen. 30 feet is when your Bluetooth earpiece can connect to your cell phone or disconnect to your cell phone. Think about it. She's behind them, waving, having a good time. They're laughing, talking, turns around and gone. She's not the only one that this has happened to. So, my darlings, do I feel that a lot of this has to do with the announcement that's coming out? And with congressmen saying this is getting ridiculous because there's a lot of things being, I believe so. So, that's what I guess happens if you know too much. You don't have to worry about me. I don't know a thing. But I've been around long enough on the paranormal side to know when you see the difference between one thing and another. One of these days I can play that video for you again, and that's the one where she steps into a portal. I mean, they exist, my darlings. They exist. And sometimes that's how the unexplained can be explained. And that's how people don't come back, because you can't find the entrance to the portal. You're gone. That's it. And that's the unfortunate part. So at this point, my darlings, if you want to know more, the U.S. government has registered 2 websites. One is aliens.gov, and the other one is alien.gov. Neither one is up and running at the time that I've made this. They may be very soon. But Pete Hegseth says he doesn't want to oversell how much time it's going to take, but they're digging in to get it done. And when somebody says that within the government, the clock is ticking. That was February 19th now. Now, I know some of you are going to say, but Zelda, do you think that this is involving Nancy Guthrie? No, that's a completely different scenario. But I wanted to bring this into you because I'm not going to get into a lot of it, but I want you to know that there's a big concentration on maybe General McCasland had a little tip that he may have a little visit, and it probably wasn't going to be for tea. Let's get out the cards. Here we are back again. I liked using these cards yesterday. We're going to use them again today, and we may even do the same of what we did yesterday because it seemed like it worked out. But for all of you, pretty much say goodbye to the big book of Bull. Say goodbye to this. It has really served us well. We'll start another one on Monday. And do me a favor, stop over to my live stream tomorrow night, Saturday night. We're gonna have some fun. And I'm gonna be talking about some paranormal things. I'm gonna tell some stories. We're gonna do all kinds of things. Might even talk about the stairway. We'll see how it goes. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's New York time, and I hope I see you there. And don't forget, like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I've got Moisha here ready to go. And I have my friend, although I think what I'm going to have to do is give this guy a rest. And I'm going to show you soon. I have a client, a community member that actually sent me a beautiful deck of cards. It is the 148 or 40th anniversary of bicycle playing cards. They're just beautiful. I'm going to start breaking these in, and I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to show you. Look at the little box. Isn't that pretty? These are very pretty. And they have the date on there. I've shuffled them a little bit, but I want to show you how I do it. That way, if any of you are interested, there you've got it. Here we go. Now, I'm going to start out with this particular tarot deck. There we go. It says to pull one card. That's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to shuffle once more, cut it, and here is the sign of Pisces. Interesting. We're not going to see what's the unseen under the deck. Not yet. Not yet. The sign of Pisces. Interestingly enough, here we go. These two pillars are there to resemble the gates of heaven. What does that tell me? They're both gone. Not only that, this is a sign of Pisces. So we were in that time period. We're not any longer. But we were into that whole Piscean type of planetary movements. But you see, here's some interesting things, because this can lead into thought processes. And look, there's a trail that you go down for more. Like there's more out there. There's more to come. And that is day and night. There's a wolf, a doggy, and this little lobster looking fellow. And this, to me, with this water, I mean, this little crusty guy is about as smart as this dice right here, right? I mean, he doesn't have any intellect at all. Sorry, buddy. But even he has an instinct that he needs to go forward and look more. And I believe that that is what's going to happen. We're going to see more of this. We're going to see more. We're going to see more come out. Now, I do want to do another round. We're going to let one go. Here we are. 3 cards. That didn't sound right. If you know, you know. Not letting any go here. All right, here we are. First card. A celebration. The 10 of Cups. Now, the 10 of Cups, water sign. You see in the background, there's a little house back there. Children are celebrating. People are celebrating. It is a time in which you're looking up and looking forward. The 10s in the tarot mean you've completed a journey, and it's a celebration. Could this be a celebration of life? I think that's pretty much where it's headed for both Monica, and I think Monica already had hers, but especially for the Major General. I don't think his wife is looking for him to come back. I think that's pretty much it. But the 10 basically says you're at that end of a particular journey, and now you can celebrate, especially because it's a very emotional time. That's a water sign of this cup right here. Next up, this Knight of Pentacles. You see how he's just sitting there on his horse, really chill. You can call him the Knight of Coins if you like, or Pentacles, either one. He's not heading into a battle, and he's not preparing. He's got his face shield up. He's got his plume on his helmet there, which means he is accomplished. But his horse is just standing there. And what are they waiting on? They're waiting on the next command or the next message. This is a card in which, well, there may be some money coming, but it's usually an announcement of some type of financial coming, like either a move or more money to be spent, but they're waiting for this announcement. Now, since there is not money in this financially, so we know, I would also translate this as being we are waiting on the announcement of something valuable. Now, what is that something valuable? Well, I believe those lists are valuable that are ready to come out. And my darlings, keep watchmen. Keep watching, because that is so important for all of us to be watching. Watch around us. I promise you, it's not as scary when you are diving in and researching. Which reminds me, I'm hoping to have my book ready for tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to. It's a progress, believe me, but I'm going to try. And that is being a forensic, intuitive tarot profiler, what you need to do, where you need to go to look and to dig deep and get facts and some layouts on tarot and other cards, and you can take it from there. We'll see. Okay, we'll see, because I got a lot going on. All right, here we are. Last card. The 5. 5 in biblical numerics is grace. But you see, now these people are moving on. Traditionally, these people understand that there's nothing, they have nothing, there's nothing for them. But metaphorically speaking, I'm going to say that sometimes when you get down so low, there's that moment in time where you say, look, I can't do this anymore. And you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and you start all over again. Do I believe that this is this time? I believe it is a time where we should not fall. We should not be weary or upset. Remember, we each make our own economy, and remember, I think there's more to it than meets the eye. And these people would too, because you see, this little fellow, he's on crutches, but he knows. He's looking over here, and I'm going to say that's his mama. And mama looks like she's barefoot, cold. Her tunic is red. That's compassion and love and power, but it's frayed. So that means that she has felt like she's lost something. This little fellow is cloaked in green. That represents money and the lack of, because it is frayed, and basically they're crippled in this situation. Now, what does it mean for this? That we don't have enough answers and we need to move on. And most likely we won't ever get the answers that we think we should get. Now we're going to get the Cartomancy. Two cards. Here we are. We're not going to look at the bottom of the deck yet. This is a card of knowing, and I believe this is General McCasland right here. This 9 of clubs is always knowing what you are worth. Knowing your stability around you, knowing what you're worth. It's all about even sometimes what you earn. This could be him, in theory, walking away with nothing, knowing he's not going to come back. Do I believe that he knew that he's not coming back? Yes. I got that right from the word go. This can be a settlement, although I do not believe that General McCasland had a settlement. I believe this is all about him knowing what he is worth and what he brought to the table. This is General McCasland here. This signifies a very strong and even sometimes dominant male that knows their self-worth and that knows exactly. They basically don't speak unless they know the facts, and this right here. Now let's take a look at the bottom. Let's take a look at the bottom. Ooh, the devil. That devil card technically is a Baphomet, not a devil. This devil card is very interesting because you see that they are chained to this particular block. Now, the bat wings of this dude come off the frame of the card, which means we're not done yet. We're not done with this General McCasland situation. There's going to be inquiries, and there's going to be inquiries about others who have been missing. What does a chain mean? Hyper-focus. It means that even these people, General McCasland, Monica, and many others, have been definitely dedicated, chained, in theory, not physically, and focused, hyper-focused to the point of almost obsession of their research. It's also the sign of Capricorn. And it's also a sign of, it can be very negative, and it's very sad when you get to that point. At the bottom of this Cartomancy deck, well, look who we have, and it is the same suit as the General, and this is Miss Monica. I'm going to say she was a very intelligent but extremely charming lady who knew also her self-worth, who knew also most likely too much, because this has a female and a male there. So that tells me also that she may be in this card as well. It's a sad situation, my darlings, and it's extremely just terrifying. But the reality is, they did what they did for their country. We have to remember that. Seven. The number 7, my darlings, is spiritual completeness. Perhaps they did what they were supposed to do here. Thanks so much for watching, my darlings. Don't forget, subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye for now.